We fly again towards the fall of Solium for our fourth liberation rite. It's really speeding up now. Soon enough we're gonna have to decide who gets to go and who gets to stay. Or who has to stay. Your flight takes you near to where you breach past Stormwall into Deathless Tempest. With the climate to the downside intensifying, you wonder if the storm has spilled forth from its confines and started to ravage other regions of the land. It's definitely bad weather. Quite bad weather. And finally, here we are. There's always a long walk to this place. Yeah, it's either ascent or fall. Virtue favor from the scribes, not bad. Headwind in favor from the scribes. You make landing upon Mount Elodiel, where Wilford pulls you aside while the others complete the post-flight inspection. He puffs at his pipe before speaking up.
Ligaratus.
Reader, as you know, I now wear the raiments once again. That means that I, myself, may soon be worthy to regain my freedom in the eyes of the 8 scribes. Know, however, that it is not my wish to go just yet. It is true I could be of some benefit to our plan back in the Commonwealth, but I feel my place is here for the time being. Perhaps once the Nightwings are on a sure footing in their path, my time shall come. Those are my feelings on the matter, and I wanted you to know. I shall of course defer to you. Our path is not to contradict the reader's will. Anyway, I trust that all of us, yourself included, shall find our freedom. If not soon, then by when all this is over. Yeah, I don't intend to send... I can't send him yet. He's not enlightened enough, but yeah. He, if anyone, feels like he's an important person to keep around back here. Having completed the post-flight inspection, you and Headwind visit the monument of Trieste Tethys here at Emperor's Ascent. It can't be possible, can it? The rites are drawing to an end? I promised everyone that we would all be free, together. Please. I shouldn't have made a promise that I couldn't keep. I know that now, but please. Just please don't make me break that promise. Soon, he is finished paying his respects. You return to the wagon in silence, feeling as though Trieste Tethys has shown you favor. You soon shall ascend the mountain, though there is time now to pursue your vacations. +1 quickness, that's definitely something. Well, Tizo would be max level, if we did it. But Tizo is someone I'd like to keep around down here. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'll use him in the rite, which will get him to max level anyway. But getting Wilford up to level 3, now that might be something. Certainly, I would appreciate your point of view. You and Wilford spend some time reviewing some of the specific aspects of the rites, such as the properties of the aura. You sense you gain something from it. The rites demand we act as of one mind, in perfect unison and harmony, and free of any doubt. I have grown more accustomed to being part of the Nightwings today. Well, the sapling thing. The sapling grows larger, gains... Yeah, that's mostly what I'm doing. So I'll buff the sapling. Well observed, I have to say, my boy. That one is pretty good too, definitely. When it happens, it means they're slowed and can't do their stuff. But there's no real reason to delay anymore. Wilford gains favor from the scribes. Tizo gains favor from the scribes. So now I'm thinking Ray, Tizo, and someone. Maybe Bertrude, maybe Gilman. Maybe Wilford. Maybe Hedwyn. En route to the mountaintop, you pass by a monument to Luce Glorian, and Tizo happens to take notice. Please tell great-grandfather I said hello, old friend. I hope you are alright among the stars. You must know why the stars are fading out. Because none of us do, and some of us, I think, are beginning to feel afraid. Please grant us courage to press on. Soon, he is finished paying his respects. As you prepare to continue your ascent, you sense that Luce Glorian is shown in favor. +2 presence! Good. Presence is a huge thing, I find. Quickness and presence are like the biggest. Hope, honestly, not as much, because it doesn't feel like it's a huge difference. And glory is, yeah, obviously, total amount of damage done to the Pyre, so... You and your fellow exiles gather at the foot of the Scribes Gate, before an archway carved of stone, where stands the Gate Guardian. Salutium, Ceres. Greetings to you, Celeste. I see the exiles of the Nightwings have returned, even as the cycle of the rites begin drawing to a close. The Nightwings accept this as the will of the Scribes. The Gate Guardian laughs at this, softly, for some reason. And you, Tariq, do you accept their will as well? But the lone minstrel does not answer her. It is no matter. Now, Nightwings, each of you come forth and state what it is you seek while crossing Scribes Gate. One by one, the Nightwings declare themselves. You all pass through as before. When Wilford takes his turn, Celeste stops him. You, I see you wear the raiments once again. Explain. The cycle of the rites is ending. While I do not know exactly why, I have my fears. One of my contemporaries, he who fell from the summit long ago, he lives and seeks his liberty once again. He stands against us now and believes his triumvirate to be the true Nightwings. I remember well the contemporary whom you mean, and the Nightwings stand divided. Yes, and so I wear the raiments once again, in case that it may help to right this wrong. For I am Wilford Sandalwood, and I seek liberty for each of us, so that one day we all might stand shoulder to shoulder on the other side, and bring our freedom to the people there. She considers Wilford's word for a moment. I see. Then move along. The guardian of the Scribes Gate regards you all, and then she beckons you onward. The 8 scribes bid the Nightwings welcome. Go forth with glory. Celeste. What is it, Tariq? The will of the scribes. How long have we both followed it? I think you would agree. In equal measure as it drawn us close, has separated us. But if their aim now is to keep us apart for another age or longer, then no, I do not accept their will. You blaspheme, Tariq, and at the gate no less. But the lone minstrel simply puts his hat back on. Then may the scribes themselves admonish me. Until tomorrow night, Celeste. It's time. Again. Having reached the peak of Mount Elodial again, you see the vastness of the downside all around you. It leaves you deep in thought regarding which of your companions ought to go free this night, as Pamitha did last time. Wilford looks up as you approach and smiles. I never thought that I would say such things, my boy, but it is good to wear the raiments and the rites once more. The march of time does have a way of healing certain hurts. Besides, the Nightwings of today, we are a very different beast than the triumvirate which took me in almost a decade ago. Ours was a triumvirate of exactly 3. Well, 4 with Tizo, who proved to be an exception. Though historically, the Nightwings never took more exiles than needed. I have mentioned my predecessor, Brighton, and my former companions, Erisa and Orlick. Perhaps, naively, I had hoped my time with them would not be relevant directly to what we now attempt. But seeing as our stories are now intertwined, do let me know if there is more you wish to learn of them. You inquire about Brighton, who you understand was liberated prior to when Wilford first joined the Nightwings. I never met Brighton in person, but I know him rather well by now. For that matter, my boy, so do you. He studies you for erection for a moment, then... Brighton was born wealthy, but not special otherwise. You would have no reason to have heard of him. He was exiled for negligent misconduct. I do not exactly know why and do not care for spreading rumors. I first heard of him through Erisa and Orlick, who found in me a suitable replacement following his revelation. They spoke little of him. Orlick gave the impression they did not see eye to eye, but he assured me I soon would hear from him myself. Indeed, as I become accustomed to the book, which you know well by now, I soon began to hear the voice. Wilford looks at you, as if to see if you yet take his meaning. See, my boy, after Brighton's liberation, he assumed a new identity within the Commonwealth, and a new responsibility to the triumvirate which liberated him. That voice you hear from time to time, whensoever the stars align, it's his. He is no longer Brighton. He is now none other than the Archjustice Andromeles IX himself. The Grand Judge and figurehead under whose watch the Commonwealth is governed in this day. Liberated exiles retain certain burdens to their old triumvirates. They have much to thank them for, not just their freedom, but their exalted status in the Commonwealth. The theocratic rulers of the Commonwealth, they do not wear masks and raiment simply for the sake of ceremony. They are not who they appear to be. Their public pasts are nothing but a fabrication. Like Brighton, they once were exiles too. Brighton, that voice. He has no love for either one of us by now. He knows full well what we attempt to do. Yet, he is bound by the traditions of the rites. He shall always stand on ceremony and complain, but I think he knows, deep down, that he is powerless. How ironic, that one of such high status in the Commonwealth should be so frightened of some long-forgotten exile such as we. Anyway, that's Brighton for you. He must have seen in you the potential to be one of his staunch supporters for a time. If that's a path you'd wanted to pursue, I should apologize. Now then, whom else should we talk about? You ask about Erisa, who you understand betrayed Orlick at the moment of his liberation, but then perished in the Shimmer Pool. I'm afraid you know the brunt of it, my boy. But I suppose you ought to know something of Erisa's past, lest you be quick to judge her solely by her actions. Mind you, I would never make excuses for the terrible choice she ultimately made, but her life, I understand, was very difficult. Erisa had been exiled for the foulest of acts. You could see it plainly branded on her face. Such was the heinousness of what she did in the eyes of the Commonwealth. She was an apprentice blacksmith in her youth, taking up the post left by her brother. He had fallen in battle on the Blood Border despite wielding her father's own lands and armor. Her father never quite recovered after this, and had grown cruel and detached. It was Era who took the brunt of his fury. He expected the impossible of her. One day, it was all too much for her, so when next he lashed out at her, she struck back. She struck back, again, and again, and again. When they came for her, her father was gone, and she was not herself. She was promptly cast into the downside for the crime, where her hatred for the Commonwealth only grew. Erisa always was intense in her demeanor, haunted by her father's memory. More than that, her chief motive for wanting back her freedom was, in hindsight, not a healthy one. She longed to join our nation's enemies, to build for the highwing remnants a great siege engine that could shatter the defenses of the Commonwealth, and forever end our feud. What she ultimately did to Orlick was an act of pure and thoughtless desperation. I do not think that it was simply evil, nor do I think that it was personal. I often wondered, though, if, in her final moments in the Shimmer Pool, she understood what she had done, and the depths to which she had fallen. For years, I must admit I hated her, but now, my only hope is that she found a peace untenable during her relatively short life in the Downside and the Commonwealth. Furthermore, I hope the life of Erisa offers some perspective yet to those of us who have not made the same mistakes. Now then, was there something else? You ask about what Orlick was like when he and Wilford first became acquainted. Wilford remained silent for some time. I was very, very sick, you know, when I first landed in the Downside. The long trip down the river must have been a little much for me. It was Orlick who found me. He could not have known of my capacity to read before he revived me. He was a physician, intolerant of the sight of suffering of any kind, not just any physician, a gifted, highly decorated one. he served on the front. Back then, skirmishes erupted frequently, and those such as Orlick, they had to deal with many casualties on either side. In time, he said he grew repulsed by what he saw. This sowed in his heart a yearning for an end to all the bloodshed, so he tried to use his status to negotiate a treaty with the Highwing remnants. It must have gone about how you'd expect. He was given direct orders to return to the front, but when he refused to soil his hands again, they cast him to the downside. Here, he gained the notice of the Nightwings, and before long he grew to be one of the finest rites conductors anyone had ever seen. He was instrumental in the liberation of his companions, whose role in the triumvirate were later filled by Erisa and me. In time, Orlick's own opportunity for freedom had come up. He longed for it, so that with his exalted status, he might stand a better chance of negotiating peace. However, on the evening of his liberation, well, you know the story from that point. Wilford breathed a heavy sigh. He and I were kindred spirits for a while. Could not bear to think that he was gone. And now, I still cannot entirely believe that he is back. He is our adversary now, transformed, grown cold. Still, part of me is happy that he lives. Make no mistake, of course, I shall not be swayed against our plan. Not by Orlick, or anyone. As I have said before, we share a higher calling now. As for Orlick, he wants his freedom still, although I wonder if he still remembers why. Anyway, is there something else, my boy? No, I think that's about it. Thanks for sharing with me, Wilford. Bid Wilford a good afternoon and leave him with his memories. My pleasure, reader. Reflecting on the past from time to time helps demonstrate how far we've come, yet how much further we still have to go.